Hi and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom. It's 8:30 in Paris. Here are our headlines today. Debating a delay to Brexit, EU leaders to meet to discuss Theresa May's request for an extension just over a week before Britain is legally due to leave the bloc. New Zealand banned semi-automatic and automatic weapons in the aftermath of the Christchurch terror attacks. Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern making good on a pledge to tighten gun laws as families continue to bury their dead. And a race to save lives. More than 300 are now confirmed dead following Cyclone Yadai. But aid agencies request urgent help as they warn thousands more are at risk in Mozambique, Zimbabwe and Malawi. Also coming up for you in the next half an hour, we talk racism and anti-Semitism at school. How should teachers respond if children use racist language, and what about the parents? Well, tackling that thorny issue on behalf of Paris's Teaching Federation is Juliette Collet. She'll be joining me here in the studio in less than half an hour, so stay with us for that. Good morning. The European Union summit kicks off in Brussels today, and with just 8 days left until Britain is due to leave the bloc, Brexit, of course, will be dominating those discussions today. The 27 member states will be debating whether to allow the UK to delay Brexit, at least in the short term, an extension that Theresa May formally requested yesterday. Well, the Prime Minister has also been calling on her MPs once again to back her deal for a third time to try and prevent a no-deal crash-out from the European Union. Alexander Ocott has the story.
The British Prime Minister's voice is almost recovered and the message is unchanged as she called out MPs for continuing to reject her Brexit deal with the EU.
Do they want to leave the EU with a deal which delivers on the result of the referendum, that takes back control of our money, borders and laws, while protecting jobs and our national security? Do they want to leave without a deal? Or do they not want to leave at all? It is high time we made a decision.
Earlier in the day, Theresa May had written to the European Council's President, Donald Tusk, requesting that the Brexit deadline be pushed back until the 30th of June, adding that she'll set out her reasons to the 27 EU leaders at a summit in Brussels on Thursday. But Tusk says an extension will only be granted if MPs backed the Brexit deal that they've already twice rejected.
In the light of the consultations that I have conducted over the past days, I believe that a short extension will be possible, but it will be conditional on a positive vote on the withdrawal agreement in the House of Commons.
British politicians could vote on the deal for a third and last time next week, faced with the real threat of leaving without a deal on the 29th of March.
Well, as important as Brexit may be, EU leaders don't want to spend this summit just focusing on the United Kingdom. There are also parliamentary elections to be thinking about. Now, those European elections will be held in May. And yesterday, the party of Hungary's far-right Prime Minister Viktor Orbán was suspended from the EU's biggest political alliance ahead of the election. The Fidesz party was kicked out over its anti-immigration campaigns, in particular a billboard that accused the European Commission chief, Jean-Claude Juncker, of working with George Soros to plot flooding Europe with migrants. Well, here is Orbán responding to that suspension yesterday.
In recent weeks, left-wing Liberal member parties came forward with a proposal that our party be excluded. This would have turned the EPP into a more narrow, left-leaning organisation. All this is coming on the eve of important elections, and our opposition can get no greater gift than a heated debate within the EPP.
Let's bring you some other world news then on the programme. And New Zealand has announced an immediate ban on the sale of assault rifles and semi-automatic weapons. Now this, of course, following the Christchurch terror attacks that killed 50 people. The ban is expected to come into force as early as April the 11th. Solange Mougin has the story.
Holding a weeping mother. When New Zealand's Prime Minister visited a mosque last Sunday, these images of compassion shot across the globe. In the aftermath of the country's deadliest mass shooting in its history, Jacinda Ardern's leadership style has caught the world's attention and garnered much praise, be it for immediately calling the attack by a white supremacist an act of terrorism, be it in the path-breaking gesture of not calling the murderer by name and giving him the media attention he's thought to crave, and above all a vow to swiftly change New Zealand's gun laws. Decisive steps to enact political change that have been combined with outward expressions of empathy. Ardern's all-inclusive language has also been lauded as exemplary, like when she told Donald Trump that the best way he could help her nation was through showing sympathy and love for Muslim communities. Or like here before Parliament, when she addressed an increasingly multicultural New Zealand in English, Maori and Arabic.
We are one, they are us. Tātou, tātou. Assalamu alaikum, we ramet Allah, we barakatuh.
This isn't the first time the 38-year-old's leadership style has made headlines. There's even a term for it, Jacinda Mania, a charisma that helped her get elected in 2017. A celebrity status that jumped up a notch last year. After being one of just a few world leaders to give birth while in office, the 38-year-old brought her 3-month-old baby to the UN General Assembly. But Jacinda Ardern's star power has, in the past, been met by criticism at home, with New Zealand undergoing a housing crisis and economic woes. Current praise aside, she now has to push through gun law reforms and continue to govern a coalition government with a party that's known for its opposition to mass immigration.
Next then, let's take a close look at the rescue operation in Mozambique after last week's devastating cyclone there. The death toll has now topped 300 across Zimbabwe, Mozambique and Malawi, and some survivors are still clinging to treetops and to roofs waiting to be rescued. Nicholas Rushworth has the story.
The cyclone hit a week ago, leaving a trail of devastation. Mozambique is now in 3 days of mourning, with the death toll of hundreds of people expected to rise. Rescue operations in the port city of Beira are continuing. This man was rescued from a treetop and airlifted to safety. The Red Cross says it lacks sufficient resources to pick everyone up. Its priority is to save children, pregnant women and the injured. Aid agencies have said they were prepared for the cyclone, but not for the massive floods that followed. Here in Butsi, in central Mozambique, stranded residents are desperate to be evacuated. Time is running out.
We don't have any houses. All the houses have been badly damaged. We don't have anywhere to live and we don't have food or anything. Everything is a mess. It's disorganized.
In Zimbabwe, dozens of people have died. President Emerson Mnangagwa visited the town of Chimanimani and promised houses would be better built in future. He said more humanitarian aid was coming.
I don't want to hear that someone has died of hunger here. We have enough food aid coming for everyone.
Malawi has not released details of casualties. The UN is reporting nearly 1 million people there have been affected by the cyclone and more than 80,000 have had to leave their homes.